The lights dimmed, and for a moment, it felt like time had stopped. Jungkook stood on stage, trying to hold himself together, his hands trembling as he wiped away the first tear. The crowd, thousands of armies, fell completely silent. No cheers, no chants, just the sound of quiet sobs echoing from every corner of the arena. Everyone thought he was emotional because of the song, but what came next proved it was something much deeper. Behind him, Taehyung stepped forward, his expression unreadable, his eyes glistening under the lights. Then, in one unexpected moment, Taehyung reached out, pulled Jungkook close, and whispered something that no microphone could catch. Whatever he said made Jungkook break down completely. Cameras flashed. Fans gasped. The entire world would soon be talking about this, the moment Jungkook couldn't hold back his tears, and Taehyung did something no one could ever forget. The air inside the stadium was electric, yet strangely heavy. The final notes of the song faded, leaving a lingering echo that wrapped around the members like a memory that refused to end. Jungkook stood at the center of the stage, his microphone still in his hand, but his voice had long since disappeared. His chest rose and fell rapidly, his eyes shimmering with tears he'd been trying to hold back all night. For weeks, he had hidden his exhaustion behind smiles, the kind that light up millions of screens but never quite reach the eyes. The pressure, the love, the expectations, it all collided at that very moment, under the blinding stage lights. Taehyung noticed first. From his place near the back of the stage, he saw Jungkook's shoulders start to shake. He didn't hesitate. Slowly, silently, he walked toward him, each step echoing louder than the cheers that had once filled the air. Jimin glanced over, sensing something was off. Namjoon, standing a few feet away, lowered his microphone and looked toward the two youngest members, his expression filled with quiet understanding. They all knew this wasn't just about the song. Taehyung reached Jungkook's side. For a second, they simply stood there, two brothers, surrounded by flashing lights and thousands of fans, but completely alone in their own world. Jungkook tried to speak, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry." That was all he could manage. Taehyung shook his head gently, placing a hand on Jungkook's shoulder. His eyes softened, and then, in one spontaneous, genuine gesture, he pulled Jungkook into a hug. The crowd erupted into a wave of emotion. Phones lit up. Tears streamed down faces in the audience. But in that instant, none of it mattered to them. It wasn't a performance anymore. It was real, raw, human, unfiltered. What the fans didn't know was that earlier that day, Jungkook had been struggling more than usual. He had stayed behind in the rehearsal room long after everyone left, repeating his lines, trying to perfect every move. When Taehyung found him there, he'd told him softly, "You don't need to be perfect, Jungkook. You just need to be you." Those words came rushing back to him now, and that's when the tears finally fell. As the song's replay started, the two of them stood there, still holding on, while the others joined in, Suga with a quiet nod, Jimin wiping his own tears, and Jin giving a reassuring smile that said everything words couldn't. Namjoon, ever the leader, took a step forward and spoke into the mic, his voice steady yet trembling slightly with emotion. "It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. That's what makes us human, and that's what makes BTS. BTS." The audience roared in support, chanting their names, their love, their gratitude. Jungkook looked out into the ocean of purple lights, his tears still flowing, but this time with relief. He wasn't alone, not on that stage, not in this life. And beside him, Taehyung gave him a soft smile, one that seemed to say, "You did well. You always do." The moment was short, but it became immortal, captured in millions of hearts, replayed endlessly across screens, remembered as the night BTS reminded the world that even the strongest idols can break, and that's okay. The lights faded one by one, the roar of the crowd dissolving into a soft hum as the final song ended. BTS bowed together, their silhouettes framed against a sea of purple light sticks that shimmered like stars. The encore was over, but something heavier remained in the air, something unspoken. Backstage, the sound was different. No screaming fans. No echoing beats. Just the steady rhythm of tired footsteps and the quiet rustle of staff-moving equipment. Jungkook walked slowly through the hallway, his head lowered, his breath shaky. He had wiped his tears, but the feeling wouldn't leave him. The memories of standing on stage, of Taehyung's hug, of the words he couldn't say, they kept replaying in his mind like a broken melody. Taehyung followed a few steps behind, his expression calm but unreadable. He didn't speak, not yet. He knew Jungkook needed silence more than words. In the dressing room, the others were already waiting. Jimin was sitting on the couch, still holding a tissue in his hand, eyes a little red from crying too. Jean had placed a water bottle on the table, while Suga sat quietly in the corner, lost in thought. Namjoon leaned against the wall, watching Jungkook with a mix of concern and pride. No one said anything at first. The room was filled with a heavy stillness, the kind that only comes after too much emotion. Finally, Namjoon spoke. "You did well tonight, Jungkook." "Really?" Jungkook forced a small smile. I don't know. I didn't mean to cry like that. I just." His voice cracked again, and he looked down at his hands. Taehyung stepped forward, his tone soft but firm. "You don't have to apologize for being human." Those words hit deeper than Jungkook expected. He looked up, meeting Taehyung's gaze. There was no judgment there, only warmth, the kind that silently said "I understand." "Back there," Jungkook whispered, "when you hugged me. I almost lost it completely." "That's okay," Taehyung replied. "Sometimes, losing it means you're finally letting go." Jean chuckled softly, breaking the tension a little. "If crying on stage means you're weak, then I guess we're all the weakest idols in history." Everyone laughed quietly, a small, needed relief. But deep inside, Jungkook knew it wasn't just the song that broke him. It was everything, the long nights, the pressure, the constant fear of not being enough. He had been carrying it for too long, pretending it didn't hurt. Later that night, when most of the crew had left, Jungkook and Taehyung found themselves alone in the dressing room. The sound of rain tapped softly against the windows, filling the silence. "Hyung," Jungkook began, his voice barely above a whisper. "Do you ever feel like, no matter what we do, it's never enough?" Taehyung thought for a moment, then nodded. "All the time. But then I remember why we started, not to be perfect, but to make people feel something. And tonight, you did exactly that." Jungkook's eyes glistened again. "You really think so?" "I know so," Taehyung said simply. "Do you know what I saw from the stage? Thousands of people crying with you, not for you. That's not weakness. That's connection." For a long moment, neither spoke. The rain grew heavier outside, but inside, something lighter filled the room, understanding. Before they left, Taehyung reached into his bag and pulled out a small photo card. It was an old picture, the two of them from their trainee days, smiling awkwardly, sweat still on their faces after a long day of practice. "Keep this," he said. "A reminder of where we started, and how far you've come." Jungkook smiled for real this time, small, genuine, unguarded. "Thanks, Taehyung. For everything." "Always," Taehyung replied. "That's what brothers are for." When the two of them finally stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The city lights reflected off the wet pavement, glowing softly, just like the bond between them. That night would go down as one of the most emotional moments in BTS history, not because of the tears, but because of what came after, the quiet strength, the shared heart, and the unspoken promise that no matter how heavy the journey gets, they'll always carry each other through it. The world had already seen it, the tears, the hug, the moment that broke every ARMY's heart. Clips from the concert spread across social media like wildfire. Fans around the world replayed it again and again, writing messages filled with love, concern, and pride. "Jungkook, you don't have to be strong all the time." That hug from Taehyung said everything words couldn't. This is why BTS means more than music. By morning, the entire fandom had turned that one moment into a symbol of vulnerability, a reminder that even those who